A man makes the biggest purchase of his life, a house. His family is thrilled. Neighbors congratulate him, and he feels like he just won at life. Now fast forward 25 years. That same man is staring at his bank statement and slowly realizing something uncomfortable. The thing he was told was the safest investment of his life actually locked away his financial freedom for 2.5 decades. This video is about that. About how buying a home is far more complicated than the word safe makes it sound. Every generation has been told the same line. Renting is a waste of money. Buy a house. At least your EMI builds something. Parents say it. Financial advisors say it. Every uncle at every family gathering says it. But here's the irony. This is the same generation now putting 60, sometimes 70% of their income into EMIs, and still calling themselves financially secure. Why does this keep happening? Because nobody ever explained that a house isn't just an asset. It's a liability wearing an investment's mask. Let's break this down simply. When you buy a house, you usually pay 20% from your own pocket. The remaining 80% comes from a bank, a home loan. That loan runs for 15, 20, sometimes 30 years. Here's the detail almost nobody pays attention to. In the early years, most of your EMI, sometimes 70 to 80% of it, goes toward interest. The actual loan amount, the principal, barely moves. Which means if you've been paying EMIs for 10 years, you may have already cleared most of the bank's interest, while the loan amount itself has barely shrunk. The system isn't broken. It's designed this way, so the bank gets paid first. So, is a house really an investment? Let's look at the actual numbers. Say you buy a house for 50 lakhs, 20-year loan, 8.5% interest. By the end, you've paid the bank over 1 crore rupees for a house that cost 50 lakhs. Now the common response is, but the house's value also went up, right? Fair point. Let's say prices doubled in 20 years. The house is now worth 1 crore. Except wait, now subtract property tax paid every single year, maintenance, roof repairs, plumbing, painting, home insurance. And the big one, opportunity cost. That 20% down payment you made, if you'd invested that same amount in an index fund instead, it would have compounded for 20 years too. Once you run the real numbers, that house that doubled in value often performs worse than a plain fixed deposit. The hype says, buy a house. It's the biggest asset you'll ever build. The reality is, a house is an illiquid asset. If you need cash urgently tomorrow, you can't sell a house overnight. It takes months, sometimes years. The hype says, renting is throwing money away. The reality is, renting buys you flexibility. New job in a different city? A renter just packs a bag. A homeowner has to sell, or rent it out, or keep paying EMI on an empty house. And here's the irony nobody talks about. The very thing that's supposed to give you security is often the exact thing that takes away your mobility and your freedom. Now let's make this bigger. When an entire generation puts most of its savings into one single illiquid asset, two things happen. First, people stop diversifying. Almost everything they own is trapped inside one house. Second, the real estate market gets artificially inflated because housing demand isn't rational. It's emotional. People buy houses not because the math works, but because what will people say if we don't? Or it's expected before marriage. Or this is just what you're supposed to do. That emotional demand is exactly why prices rise faster than real income growth. For people who already own property, the house looks like an asset. But for every new buyer entering the market, it's becoming less of an investment and more of a financial trap, one where a majority of their income disappears into a loan for decades, leaving almost nothing left to actually build wealth. So, does this mean nobody should ever buy a house? No, that's not the point of this video. The point is this: a house is not automatically a safe investment just because everyone says so. Sometimes it's shelter, sometimes it's an emotional decision, sometimes it even makes financial sense. But calling it an investment without doing the math, that's not investing. So the next time someone tells you buying a house is the smartest financial decision you'll ever make, Ask them one simple question. Smartest compared to what exactly?